Today's Cosplay Con Talk episode is sponsored by Moco Queen Color Contacts. Don't forget to use my code Wayne for 10% off at checkout at mocoqueen.com. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. How's it, everyone? Wayne the Known here, and welcome back to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. I'm here joined by Hack, who you may remember when they were on for the How to Handle Winning and Losing Your First Cosplay Contest podcast panel. I want to say it was earlier this year. I think that's when you came on for the first time here.
I think so. I get my timelines really mixed up.
For those who may be familiar, may best know Hack on TikTok, who I think is probably the best cosplay and competition device.
Oh, thank you.
Highly recommend following him on TikTok.
Thank you.
Um, so again, Hack, thank you for coming on. Real quick, I gotta ask, what made you come up with the name Hack?
Okay, so Hack, I've gone through a couple iterations of my name. It started back when I was young. I had a friend that, we were all weebs back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and we inappropriately used nicknames that were of Japanese origin, right? So I had a friend that called me Hakuji, which is a type of Japanese porcelain because I am very, very pale. And so for a while I used Hakuji. Um, but as I got older and as I realized it was not very culturally sensitive for me as a white person to use a Japanese name, I shortened it to Hack as in HAK. But then then all of these like websites and everything where you have to have a username, you have to have four characters in your username. And so I just put a C on the end so it would sound the same. Um, and now they're requiring six, so now it's Hack. But yeah, it
Nice.
was just a lot of reflection on myself and how I didn't want to prioritize the fact that I'm pale and I didn't want to potentially be culturally insensitive when I am a white person. It's a lot of looking at myself as a person, and not everyone has to do it, but that's how I decided to handle my username. And I think it works for me now because I am a like it's obviously a typoed username. Like the intention is for it to be misspelled. And that's kind of who I am as a person. I'm a messy person. I'm a typo. I It just is. It works for me.
Well, at least it works for you. When I saw that, I was like, I thought of the old PlayStation video game series Hack for a minute.
Oh yeah, dot hack, yeah.
hmm so always with these get to know that cosplayer podcast, um, what got you into cosplay and how long have you been cosplaying for?
I've been cosplaying for almost 21 years.
Oh, see, you're
Um,
you're in that category as I call cosplay veteran. You've been cosplayed for 10
mhm.
plus years and you've literally seen the change from the early 2000s when cosplaying conventions were just things at hotels and in San Diego Comic-Con with like not a big crowd, not didn't
Mhm.
cost a whole lot of money. So you've definitely seen the change in the past
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah. I am pre-Homestuck. I am right there with Yaoi paddles.
Uh,
That is my time frame. I
which
started
are
cosplaying.
banned.
I actually started, it's weird because like before I had started cosplaying, I had seen pictures of cosplayers and I was like, "Ooh, that's really cool." And then I saw it was either, I think it was Otaku USA, an old magazine
I've heard
where
of
they
that.
used to cover conventions, and they had like little blurbs at the end that would show the conventions that had gone on in the country. And back then it was not as many conventions, so you had like maybe one a month. But as they started to grow, they started having a list of upcoming conventions in the US, and one in my city was listed. And I thought because of what I had seen coverage wise for conventions in those magazines and online, I thought you had to cosplay to go. Like I thought that that was a requirement. That was the dress code that you had to cosplay. So I went to Ikasucon in Cincinnati, Ohio, in 2004. I thought I had to have a cosplay. I went as Edward from Cowboy Bebop. It was so bad. It was because I was 14, and because I was very uncomfortable with my body, I wore an oversized t-shirt, right? So Edward has like the crop top and
Hmm.
the tight
Black
bike short.
shorts and like
Yes.
that weird, that orange hair.
Yeah, that crazy hair, but I was not confident in my body, so I just wore an oversized full-length t-shirt and basketball shorts, and no one knew who I was. But
There's nothing wrong with that, honestly, in my
I'm
opinion.
I'm kind of I'm kind of glad that there is no proof of my first cosplay.
Oh, so it's just one of those you don't have no pictures and everything just
Hmm.
because of plus, well, that and like digital phones and everything and the internet really wasn't
Yeah.
as big as it is now.
Yeah, no, we a few people had digital cameras at that time, but most of it was the like, the click and then you roll the film back and then you take it to the Walgreens and like
Hmm.
2 or 3 days later you have your pictures. Yeah, that's times have certainly changed.
If you don't mind me asking, did you use your own hair or did you get like one of those cheapo orange wigs?
I got one from Spirit, no, not even from Spirit Halloween because it wasn't Halloween time. It was in July. We have a costume shop in this greater Cincinnati area called Capels, and they sell costumes year round. So I went there and got a like an auburn wig. It wasn't even red because they didn't have a red one and I didn't know how to style wigs. So I just like took a bunch of hairspray and like flung it around my room to try and get it like I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, it was not good. It's but it's part of my journey.
I mean, I'm sure it was better. And this is no disrespect against the actor. I'm sure it's better than the look that they showed in the live action version.
I
That looked
haven't
like,
even watched all of the live action version.
and again, no disrespect against the actor, but like the way that ad looked, it looked like a character, it looked like an extra from Spy Kids.
Oh, that's weird.
Just the way it looked. I've seen clips of it, but did you have fun? What was the con? Ikasu con or
Kasukan, yeah.
Ikasu or Kasu?
Ikasu.
Ikasu. Is that con still around?
No, they died out, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. They ended up moving to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and kind of died out from there. So they are now defunct, which is kind of a shame. The first con I ever went to is gone. But they also moved to Fort Wayne, so it wasn't really accessible. That's like a 4 hour drive, 4 or 5 hour drive from me. So it
Okay.
wasn't really accessible anymore.
Yeah, I'm
But
looking up and I cannot find a thing on it.
mhm, yeah, it's defunct. It was so I didn't have a whole lot of friends when I was growing up, and I was 14 at the time. And this was in between the summer of middle school and high school. And I didn't go with anyone. My parents just dropped me off at the con with $20 in my pocket, and the badge was $20. That's how old I am. The badge was $20. The badge was affordable. So I
But
didn't have food.
leaving their
Mhm.
14-year-old kid all by themselves. Oy.
Yeah, 14-year-old girl alone at an anime convention back in the Pedo Bear days. I don't know
Oh,
if I can
and
say
you know,
that.
yeah, you can. I'll
Okay.
allow it. Just I'll allow it.
Uh,
For those who know who and right, you were also around the same time as the infamous now banned for a long time Yaoi paddles.
the
Mm,
culture was a lot different and it was a lot more dangerous.
it's
I
an
did have
understatement.
I did have fun as a concept. I was also um inappropriately touched at that con. Um, which
And this is before the whole cosplay does not equal consent thing became a
yes,
real
this was
stickler.
before cosplay is not consent.
I think it became a thing what around 2009, 2010 when cosplay was becoming more mainstream.
Yeah, it was the early 2010s when it really started getting movement. But yeah, and I it was a good time and I met wonderful people. I did, but also, with the good comes bad, especially in that era of the
Mm.
community. And it it put me into a situation I was not ready for at that age.
I don't think I mean it doesn't matter what age you're cosplaying at, whether you're young, old, like. just people got to respect other people's boundaries, especially when it
Absolutely.
comes to cosplay. It doesn't matter if you're a teenager, an adult, or someone, older, like, in the senior years, like, cosplay does not equal consent no matter the age.
Correct. I just think for me, because I was so nowadays, if someone touched me, they'd have
You,
another thing coming.
I mean,
But at
I feel
14
like
years old,
you would have every right to smack them. I don't care
oh,
if you
they
get,
would not.
I don't,
I wouldn't assault anyone, but I would be loud and I would call them out on it.
and
But at
basically,
14 years old,
you didn't know because this was your first con, so
I was a kid.
and then nowadays it's just like parents will go with their kids, or they'll like have a legal guardian or something, because you should never, in my personal opinion, I don't care if you think you're mature enough, if you are not over the age of 18, you should not be going to a con by yourself. I
I
mean,
absolutely agree.
even older, if you don't want to go to a con by yourself, as I say, and this is something I talk about, and I'm sure you can agree, bring with you, as to quote from Finding Nemo, bring a convention exit buddy.
Correct. I'm 35 and I still, if I am at a con where I'm not with my wife, I have a male friend who will walk me to and from my hotel room at 35 years old. I will not, it's too scary. There's too many things that could happen.
No, no, even if you're like, even the convention center's literally next to the hotel, it still doesn't
Hmm.
hurt to have a friend or someone with you. Which brings me to a question I always ask, because we kind of briefly just talked about it. Advice for someone who's wanting to go to their first con.
Do your research. Definitely look at the rules of the convention for what you can wear, what you can't wear. Right now, we're having a little bit of a culture war in the cosplay community where a lot of young people are going to cons and not realizing what the culture is like. And because of that, they are not reading things like rules and understanding that there are going to be people that have minimal amount of clothing on. And that to a lot
Mm,
of people is shocking. But as long as people are following the rules, it's fine. And if you think that those rules are going to be offensive to you, the idea of someone wearing a bikini is going to be offensive to you, maybe don't go. Find a different convention. Um, but
hmm
I mean, make sure that you have all the information you need for the con.
hmm
Before I go to a con to this day, I will watch those cosplay music videos so I can see a really good idea of what the space looks like. Because even if you're not just looking at the cosplays, you can see the space that it's in. You can see how many attendees it's going to have. Some cons don't like publishing how many attendees they have.
hmm
And you can get a feel of what the convention is going to be like. So I watch cosplay music videos when I go to a con, like a specific con for the first time, because they're all different.
hmm
Um, I would suggest, definitely, look to people who have more experience because they're going to tell you like coffee pot ramen is a thing. You don't have to spend $400 on food at the convention. You can
Or
bring ramen
spending
packets and make coffee pot
10
ramen
or spend $10 on a hot dog, and it's not even a good
or
idea.
spend
What?
$10 on a hot dog.
I mean, from my personal experience, I mean, even like what I do a thing called convention showcases, where I show off the entire con for like almost over 2 hours to give people an idea. And I feel like videos like that are also very informative. If you can see a 40-minute con video, that gives you an idea of how much, like,
Hmm.
what's going on, how crowded it is. Anime Expo, I'm looking at you. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I agree. Do your research at the con, do your research for a hotel, even, and I can't stress this enough, because we briefly talked about it when it comes to traveling for cons. Check the weather.
Check the weather. Absolutely. Check the weather. Bring a backup cosplay if it's going to be cold.
Because I don't think you want to go to a con dressed as Yoko from Gurren Lagann, and you find out the con is tits freezing cold.
Yeah. I'm in Ohio. It gets pretty bad up here in the winter. So,
Oh yeah, it can get pretty cold from what I like. What's the coldest it's been over there?
we had a con one year where and it historically takes place in winter. It got -10. It was bad. It was really bad.
I mean, I know most cons usually start. The most common times for cons to start is fall, summer, fall, and winter. Sometimes spring pending, but summer, fall, and winter are the most common times for conventions, because that's when people are traveling the most.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. But yeah, I'm sure you can agree, do your research.
Do your research.
And I'm sure you can also agree, do your research for hotels as well.
Absolutely. Don't buy your ticket without having a hotel. Don't pay for travel before you have your hotel. Like get the hotel ASAP. You can do everything else after that.
Oh yeah, no, again, I wholeheartedly agree on this. And I'm sure another thing you can agree on is, um, make sure you have a budget too for when you're
Mhm.
going to a con, especially for the first time.
Absolutely. Budgets are really important. Budget for everything. Food, water, um, like dealer's room, and stick to that budget. Like if you have to, I know, so my wife is a mental health counselor and talks a lot about budgeting with, cons and stuff. We do better if we take out, as humans, we do better when we have physical money in our hands. So,
Mm,
like, if you have a certain amount that you're going to spend in the dealer's room, take that out in cash. Take it out in cash. And that is all you're allowed to spend. Don't use that card. We don't conceptualize swiping a card the same way we do handling money.
hmm Use a card for food if you're going like to a
Right.
restaurant or something. I mean, I'm sure we can agree. Yes, it may look pretty. Yes, you may look like you want that thing, that specific thing, but it's best to save your money. And also, they usually tend to have a business card that has an online store.
Absolutely. I am a collector of business cards. If I see something that is a little out of my price range, I'm gonna be like, hey, do you have a business card so I can like get this at another time?
I mean, just an example.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely at cons, put your needs before your wants.
oh
And I'm
no.
sorry, you don't need that $400 figure if it's going to interfere with you eating.
Yes, you don't need that $400 waifu figure of
Right.
whoever characters. Like it's not worth it. Yes, they look nice, but like it's not worth it.
But it will not sustain you.
No,
Food will.
no, it's exactly food. I feel like, your physical and mental health is more important at a con than throwing down a lot of money on something that, you can easily find more like way cheaper online.
Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, what's been your personal experience when it comes to budgeting and being safe for a con?
So I've always been pretty low income. To this day, I am, lower middle class. So I've never really had a whole lot of money to just throw around in dealers' rooms and stuff. Um, for budgeting, my tip for when I was younger, in order to get into cons and get hotel rooms for free, when I was younger, I staffed them. Um,
Ooh,
that was that was the only way I could afford it.
that's pretty smart though.
Yeah. So I would what I would do is I would staff the con so I'd get a free badge and free hotel room. Usually they have a room for staff that you can eat in. So they'll have food available for the staffers generally.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I would carpool with other staff members in my area. And like, yeah, you're working the con, but you're getting in for free. You're getting actually, especially when you're young, you're getting work experience that you can put on your resume. And generally at cons, you're not getting paid to volunteer, but when that was my only option, that I wouldn't be able to afford cons and traveling and meeting so many wonderful people if I hadn't have done that. Now I cannot do that because when you compete, generally you can't be a staff member. Um, Now I definitely, so I have a gig job. I am a trivia host once a week.
Ooh.
And so I save up my gig job money to pay for things like badges and hotel rooms. I also, will be very mindful of how much a hotel room will cost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm starting to get more into the guesting side of conventions, which I can't compete when I guest. But that will also, cover hotel room, travel, food, whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, just being mindful of your budget, being aware that there are ways that even low income people can participate in the con community. by doing things like volunteering. Like again, yes, you have to work. I get that. That
Oh yeah.
sucks. And you won't be able to just like wander around the con for 3 days, but you do get in for free.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no. But don't
but
don't yeah, no, I agree.
also, if you can afford to do so, buy your badge during the early bird specials because you will save so much money doing it that way because cons will do like the first, tier of their pre-reg will be $50 cheaper than the at the door prices.
Oh no, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing is for someone who actually does media coverage for a con company, um, I can agree. Yeah, it's yeah. You think, oh, I get it for free. I can do this and that. It's like, no, you have to put in the hours.
You have to work.
Yeah, I mean, but like you get it for free. You get all these benefits, or even like they even have where they're looking for people to sit at a booth with a special guest.
Hmm.
Like there are great opportunities, but don't take advantage of it because I've heard stories where
Yeah.
people will only sign up for volunteer work or staff just to get in the con for free and just do whatever they want. It's like, no,
Yeah, don't take
don't do.
advantage of it. But there is an option where you can also build connections on staff, and I feel like that's really important and valuable. I think especially for cosplayers, having connections with convention staff can be really beneficial in your career later on. Um, and I don't, some of my best friends I've ever made are con staffers. You just kind of generally get a certain kind of person that is willing to volunteer their time and energy at a convention. Um, but don't take advantage of it. It's not a free ride into the con. And like if you think that you're going to get your badge and then disappear for 3 days, you're
Mm.
going to get blacklisted.
Oh no,
And your name will be put around to all of the local cons and you will no longer be allowed at those cons.
I've seen that. I've seen it one time where this was probably my first time ever doing media coverage for a con, and I saw these two other people in front of me get media badges. And the only thing I saw them do was just walk around the con, and then like I didn't see them like after like 2 hours after I didn't see them at the con. I'm just like, yeah, no. For someone who does media for cons, whether it's actually work for the con or freelancing media for the con, don't do that. Like, get
Yeah, don't do that.
work your hours. When you need to take a break, sit down, eat food, drink something, but then you're back to it, and then yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So now, since we talked quite a bit about cons, what are some cons you're wanting to go to, whether it's for the remainder of the year or that there's that one dream con you want to go to? Like it's a con that you haven't been able to go to because money wise, or just because, it's far out, but you would love to go to one day.
So my dream con I can't go to because of the laws in that state. Hallmat.
Holiday Matsuri?
Yes, so it takes place in Florida. My wife is trans mask and will not be able to pee while traveling through Florida. Not safely anyways. So that is one of those like could you guys like m maybe move it to Georgia? Maybe just a little bit further north. I would love to go to Hallmat. Sakura Con is another one on my list. Um, I love Washington anyways. But Sakura Con, there's so many.
Oh, there definitely is. Like, I think
Yeah.
feel like almost every state has one of that big major con for.
Ohio doesn't.
Oh,
Well, no,
yeah.
okay, that's a lie. We have Colossal Con.
I was about to say, I've heard of I mean, hell, like I feel like the East Coast definitely has some. I mean, over here in the Pacific, over here we have some pretty big cons. I feel like in the East Coast as well, like there's some also pretty big cons too.
Yeah, we've
Like,
got Katsucon on the East Coast. I'm going Katsucon 2025.
nice. I've heard of good things about
Yeah.
Katsucon.
I've only been once. I'm really excited to go back as someone who is older and has more friends and connections. I think it's going to be a good time.
Build it from experience. It's good to build connections.
Yeah.
But don't abuse those connections.
Don't abuse those connections.
No.
Be in it for friendships, not for like networking.
No, yeah, no. I mean, networking's good too, pending
Yeah,
and everything.
networking is good, but definitely focus on the quality of that relationship over what someone can give you.
Oh yeah, no. I'm more focused on getting to know these people, networking, collaborating with them,
Hmm.
and always, as I always do, always give them shout outs to let people know, hey, check these people out because what they do is really cool. Like this, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
networking is important. I find sometimes in the cosplay community specifically, we will accidentally over network and not prioritize the friendship that we're building. So it becomes more of a, I know this person and they can do this for me, versus I'm friends with this person and I really value them.
no, yeah, no. Now onto the cosplay stuff. Briefly, some advice for cosplay. Advice for so we talked about, a an attendee going to a con, but advice for someone who's cosplaying for the first time, wanting to go to a con.
Make sure your cosplay is weather appropriate. If you live in a hot area, don't use a bunch of hot glue on your cosplay because it will melt. It will
You've
melt.
I take it you've learned that from experience.
I have not because it doesn't really get super hot out here. Like we get to like the upper 90s in the summer, but I do know people that are like in Florida and Georgia who have had their costumes melt off of their bodies.
That's
Um,
never fun to have that kind of
that's
cosplay
not fun.
mishap.
Break in your shoes before the convention. Do not try to just wear them at the convention. Your toenails will fall off.
Mm,
Um, make sure that I always have a handler with me. I have a severe visual impairment, but also just having a handler with me to remind me to eat, to drink, to sit down, to take a break, is really important for me. But also as a cosplayer, be okay saying no. Be okay saying no. Like if you're eating and it's the first time you're eating that day and someone says, "Can I get a picture?" You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to say no even if you're not eating. You're allowed to say no. Um, Too many cosplayers feel the pressure to be on all the time, but we're humans.
I mean,
Um,
if I'm sitting down dressed as Master Roshi downing a burger, and I'm just like, I'm eating,
right.
once I'm done eating, definitely I'll have as many pictures as you want, but like I'm eating, and if I don't eat, I'm gonna be grumpy, and
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to be hungry and grumpy because that's just turns me to an asshole.
Absolutely. But as a cosplayer, also check out the cosplay related events. So whether that is watching the cosplay contest without participating, so you can get an idea of what those look like. There are some conventions do Iron Cosplay, which is essentially Iron Chef but cosplay, and you're building cosplays out of
That
garbage
sounds
material.
that
Uh,
sounds
that's
fun.
it. I've never participated. I've always wanted to. It sounds so much fun.
Oh, that especially also helps like someone who is wanting to get into cosplay building. That sounds fun. Any con who's listening to this,
Iron
have an iron
Iron
cosplay.
Cosplay.
That
Um,
sounds fun. I've never
yeah.
heard of that before.
It's also a great way to build connections if you're new to the space because it's teamwork. So you have like teams that are doing it. So you're working with a team
Oh,
to build these cosplays out of things like cardboard and garbage bags and all kinds of random stuff. And
oh,
like
that is so cool.
it looks really fun.
That
So
that
for those
sounds fun.
events, but I mean, really focus on making connections, having fun, taking breaks when you need to take breaks, because wearing a cosplay is absolutely exhausting,
Mm.
both physically and mentally, because
Oh,
we
oh,
often
definitely.
ignore the fact that socially it's very, very tiring.
Oh, it,
So
it
take
it it
breaks.
can be. No, I wholeheartedly agree on that. Another thing is advice for someone who's wanting to get into cosplay, but they're on a budget. Like, what would you recommend, starter wise, for someone who's wanting to get into cosplay making? For someone who
Thrift
does it
stores.
for, are your best friends?
So, for some transparency, I have been cosplaying for over 20 years. And through part of that time, I was on food stamps. I did not have money to throw around to
And
goof off and cosplay.
there's nothing, as it gets,
There's
there's
nothing
nothing
wrong with being
wrong.
on food stamps.
No,
Um,
we don't judge
but
here.
I was low income. And so what I would do is I would take old bed sheets, old curtains, and I would make those into my cosplays. You don't have to have the most amazing, expensive materials. Even my cosplays that are made out of or that are very intricate, like even looking at my most recent build, Miku, which
Really
won
well
me
done,
a
by the way.
best in show, that cost me, I think I did the math, it was $300 in supplies. Um, which sounds like a lot. I do it over a long period of time though. So that build took, I bought materials over 5 months, which it comes out to $17 a week, which is two coffees. Um, or one Chipotle order. Um, so check out thrift stores, use old sheets. You can go on Buy Nothing groups on Facebook and be like, hey, does anyone have a sewing machine they bought during the pandemic and have never touched? And people will give you that stuff for free. Like, ask if people have old bedding they're not going to use. You can use that for your cosplay. But also, like, just don't focus on buying everything all at once. Again, when I say like my cosplays cost a lot of money, they absolutely do over a very long period of time. When I say things like this cost $300, people are like, "Oh, well, that's so much." And I'm like, "Yeah, it was like $17 a week is what it comes out to. The way that I purchase that, I never spend more than $30 at one time on materials ever because I can't afford to. So I break down what I'm working on and spend a little bit of money here and there. And that's you don't have to be rich to cosplay. You can be
No.
low income, you can be on food stamps, you can you can be struggling and still use things like bed sheets. Art is not, oh, you got me on a rant. Art should not be just for the wealthy. Art is an expression of who we are as people, and it should not just be for the wealthy.
No, I completely agree. It's same when people get that mindset like we talked about earlier, like where you see these well-known cosplayers cosplaying, and because when people automatically search up cosplay, they'll see pictures like of Yaya Han, Jessica Nigri, Kamoya cosplay, Mole cosplay. They think, oh, that's what cosplay is. I don't want to do that. It's like that's not what cosplay is. Those people earn that status.
Correct.
Like,
Being a professional cosplayer is a whole different ball game, and I'm gonna go on a limb here and say 97% of cosplayers are not professional cosplayers, and most of us will never make money off of this. I don't make money off of the cosplays I make. I make money off the content that I make about cosplay. So I am a professional content creator. I am not a professional cosplayer. I don't get paid to dress up. That's not what I get paid to do. Um, if you're going into this thinking you're going to make tons of money, you're not. And
mm,
your chances of being someone like Yaya Han and Jessica Nigri are very unlikely.
no, they started out when cosplay was just,
Right.
just beginning to become a big thing.
Right. And I've been doing this for 20 years and I've only just started making a name for myself as a cosplayer. It took me 20 years to have any inkling of a following or to be able to make any money off of this. And most of my money is made because I talk about those experiences that I've gained in the 20 years.
Nice. Um, so kind of like I don't want to talk about it. What's been your speaking of thrifted cosplay, what's been your favorite thrifted cosplay?
Oh gosh, now I have to look at my cosplays. I've done over 50 cosplays. I think my count is up to like 75 over the past long time. Okay, so back in the day, trying to see like what because I use thrifted bits in all of my cosplays, even Miku, there's a thrifted sheet in there. Um, just as I saw it and I was like, this is really soft. I want to use this. I know that Asuna from Sword Art Online, I did Alfheim Asuna. It wasn't thrifted, but it was made out of clearance fabric.
Hmm,
All of it was. And the fabric cost me $5 for like 4 or 5 yards. It was like a
that's
dollar a yard.
it's not bad though.
Um, I've got Izumo from Blue Exorcist. All of that was thrifted. Um, yeah. Um, I use thrifted bits in pretty much every single one of my cosplays, even if it's just for lining. Like I'm working on one right now and the lining is a sheet. Um, I haven't done a full cosplay in thrifted materials in a long time. Um, just because the access to reliable
Mm.
fabric has gotten a little cheaper online, where I don't have to go searching for 3 months for this exact shade of whatever color of fabric. But yeah, I think Asuna, Alfheim Asuna, was probably, I mean, the entire cosplay cost me less than $20.
It's not bad,
So,
honestly. Let's see here. Another question, because we already talked about the shoes and everything. Before we talk about your cosplays more, um, and you're probably best known for this, cosplay competition wise, advice for someone who wants to enter their first cosplay contest. Because I know
watch
we
one
agree.
before you enter it. Kind of know what the setup will be like. Read the rules. Every single convention is going to it's the most exhausting thing ever. Every single convention is going to have different rules for their cosplay competition. Um, Based on what percentage you need to have made. Um, all the way down to what you can actually enter because some conventions do not allow OCs or original designs. They don't allow that in their cosplay competition. So be sure to read the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would suggest that you really start embedding yourself into the community because competitive cosplay is totally different than regular cosplay. It's so much different, and there's a totally different niche community. There's Facebook groups. There's the cosplay competition support group on Facebook that you can go and ask questions. It's a wonderful group, lots of great resources, and we have people that, just compete every now and then, all the way up to people who run competitions, and we have WCS champions in that group. Like
Ooh,
it's
World
kind of
Cosplay Summit.
every little bit of everything.
Nice.
Um, but build those connections. And if you are planning to enter a cosplay competition, this is a question I get a lot because people are like, how much of my costume do I have to make? The more you make, the more you can be judged on. Make
Again,
as much as you can.
and
Like, I can't stress that enough. You cannot be judged on something you didn't make. So if the rules say you have to make at least 50%, yeah, there are going to be that's to be eligible to enter. There are going to be people in that competition making 100% of their cosplay. So make as much as you can.
oh yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. A con I've worked for, I've hosted their cosplay contest. I've even judged the t teens and kids category. Well, a new thing we implemented for our cosplay competition, we have a non-made category
Hmm.
for teens, kids, and adults and groups. But I think it's like it's mainly the adults. We tell them that, but I've noticed like we tell them, but they still feel like, oh, I don't know, and I don't. But like, you know, it's nice that we have a non-made category. So if your cosplay is not made, you could still enter, and there's a chance that your name will get called as for like the non-made, and then
Right.
we
Here in the
all.
Midwest, what a lot of cons will do is they will also have a category for people who have purchased their cosplay, or they also have a category for people who thrift or modify their cosplay. And when you have, let's say you buy your cosplay off of Uwowo and you
Mm,
just want to walk on stage, what many cons in the Midwest will have is like a walk-on award that is
mm-hmm.
given to someone who really embodies a character that really goes on stage and really represents that character. So you can still get awards, um, minor awards, but still awards just for embodying a character. There's a lot
Exactly.
of opportunities.
And I don't think many people our age know that. With a con says
Correct.
we have that, and I get it. I get it. It's like a fear thing,
Mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with that. But like it's I feel like it's a good way to show off your cosplay to where you can you feel more confident in wanting to eventually do it again.
Right. And if you are not someone who is interested at all in making your cosplays, or you didn't make your cosplay, most competitions will also have a skit category in which you don't have to have made your cosplay. You can go on stage and dance or sing or I don't do skits, pretend to be a character. Like you can do that and you don't have to have made your cosplay. And that is also a very well respected part of the competitive community is skits. It's not something I'm experienced in. I have really bad stage fright, but you can do that too. There's a lot of opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, and sometimes cons will even ask, hey, do you want to be like a host or a judge? Which I
Hmm.
can say from experience is probably like the best thing ever.
Yeah. Judging is both terrifying and rewarding.
Hmm.
You have the power to make or break people's weekends.
Yeah.
Um, but I really love judging.
Oh yeah, no, and for anyone out there, it is nothing personal if you don't win. Just
Correct.
just know that it's a way to let you know, hey, you can always do better. Just
Mhm.
don't give up. Work
Yeah, so it's not
perfect your
personal if
craft.
you don't place. It could be a number of reasons, but if you go back after the convention or after the competition, some cons will have a feedback session during the con, like the following day, but you
Hmm.
can always ask for feedback and say, where can I improve? What can I do better? What is your advice for me? And we love giving that feedback. Very few people ask for it, so we get really excited when someone does because it means that you want to improve. And
Exactly.
you're going to lose more times than you win. I would not be a master level cosplayer if I hadn't have lost more than I've ever won.
Oh, that's right. You're masters. Is that the highest?
Hmm.
Is masters?
Yeah. Masters
What
is the highest level.
what are the other tiers? I can't
Novice
remember.
and journeyman. Sometimes journeyman is called intermediate. Novice and journeyman, and then masters.
Okay. And I do like how even cons, because like the ones we have here, we implemented it earlier this year um for the same con company that runs a bunch of cons. We even have a honorable mention now too, where
Yes.
we still which I think is honestly a cool thing, is honorable mentions.
Yeah, often we will have judges awards too, which can go to anyone for any reason. It's just for whatever reason you stood out to one judge in particular. I know the last competition I judged, I chose someone so sweet. They did Isabel, and they had Isabel from Animal Crossing, right? And so they had put all these little star beads, like they were 5 stars all throughout different parts of the costume, representing a 5-star island. And there were just so many cute little notes to showing that she really loved this character, and it was wonderful.
No.
It was a beautiful cosplay, and I was so excited to give that award because like just judges awards are so special.
Oh yeah,
They're
no.
so personal.
There are cons I've heard of where I don't know if they still do it. It's something that I would like to try to do for some local cons here is where they have con floor awards. So like if you see a cosplay on the con floor that you really like or it's really well done, you can give them like a little award or like a little
Mhm.
trophy. It's something I would like to do here. Also, I feel like it would also entice people more to potentially enter the cosplay contest as well.
Yeah, I have never participated in one, but usually that's called a hall cosplay contest.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I've never participated in one. I've never won anything for a hall cosplay contest, and I'm not really sure how they work. But it's a really cool idea.
No, no, I agree because someone again someone who does media coverage who interviews cosplayers on the con floor, I always like to ask about their cosplays.
Absolutely.
Speaking of now on that topic, we are going to be talking about your cosplays that you've done. Starting off, what is that one cosplay that you haven't done in so long that you would like to bring back? These are the curveball questions, the curveball categories, I call it.
Yeah, so I think one that I really do want to bring back is Noriko Takaya from Gunbuster.
Nori
It's
Noriko?
Noriko Takaya.
Okay.
Um,
I'm
I
I'm
did
gonna I'm
her
gonna look it
one
up right now.
time, like God, 15 years ago.
Oh, this is an old no, this anime came
Hmm.
out.
It came out in the 80s. Um, it's a really great
Oh,
series.
I recognize one of the characters because I've seen people cosplay him. He's
Coach.
yeah,
Coach.
he wears like the weird glasses and everything.
Coach.
Yeah,
I love
okay.
it's one of my favorite animes of all time.
I've okay, I've heard of this anime because I've recognized the character, but
Yeah, it's a Gainax anime.
this is the
Yes, Noriko. So I did her probably 15 years ago. And not many people recognize me. That's fine. I don't do it for the recognition. But it's just such a fun character with a great backstory, and I'd like to remake her with the skills that I have now because the way that I did it back then left a lot to be desired for me personally.
Yeah, I'm looking up. There's like a lot of cosplays. There's even one.
And I only have one picture of me cosplaying as her.
Yeah, I'm looking up the cosplays of her, and there's like some modern ones, and there's like ones that look like from like back in the 90s and like early 2000s. Oh, you can even get her whole cosplay on AliExpress. All right. Yeah, no, I mean, it looks like
I'm not
she's a,
surprised. That's weird. I mean, it is kind of weird that you can get it on AliExpress because it's
I mean,
not a popular character. Oh, it doesn't look bad.
no.
I'm trying to find the picture of me.
Yeah,
I
if you
have
like,
one picture.
if you have any of the pictures, feel free to send
There
them
it is.
through Instagram.
Baby me. I was
Is that your
like
actual hair or is that a
18.
wig?
That's my actual hair.
That's your actual, you literally dyed your hair auburn to get that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Nice. That is, yeah, the animation style kind of reminds me of like, um, Ranma one half and everything.
Yeah.
That like
It's from that same era.
where like they actually put in the work in the animation.
Hmm.
I mean, they
Yeah,
still do nowadays, but like,
it's
okay.
different.
Oh yeah, no. Um, Now what's that one cosplay? I call them one and dones. Like it's a cosplay you did because you were curious about the character, or a friend asked you, or you're just like, "Well, is this something I would like to potentially do later down the road again?"
My one and done would be and I did this for a friend. I was in a group. It was her dream group. Mint from Tokyo Mew Mew.
Mints?
Um, Mint, yes. It
Mint.
was one and done. Um, I I've done a couple of cosplays from shows I've never seen. Just for a friend to have their dream group, and I think that that is a really
Oh,
wonderful thing
that's
to
a
do.
lot of freaking blue. Holy
It's
crap.
a lot of blue. Yeah.
And I'll
So
be
I
showing
did Mint.
if you have the picture, I can show the comparison. If not, I can just show the
Yeah, let me
character.
it's somewhere in here. Goodness gracious.
All those,
That would have been
all those magical girls. Oh, and here's a comparison of her old look compared to her new look,
yeah, I went with the old look.
where she has like the bangs and the short hair.
Yeah. So we're getting there.
Okay,
We're getting
I
there.
didn't know they did a new version of Tokyo Mew Mew.
Yeah, they did. Where the heck is it?
And on what's the website? And on Easy Cosplay, her cosplay goes for about $104. But I feel
That
like
one was
okay.
I don't know anything about Tokyo Mew Mew at
I
all. So
I just know it's in that category of magical girl animes like Sailor Moon and
yeah.
a bunch of others that I can't really say because they are not age appropriate animes.
So I have a picture of our full group.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
And there's
I
me in the
see.
blue.
Okay, yeah. I recognize all those characters because I've seen people cosplay them a lot because
Yeah.
it's one of those old animes that people like will like, will know if you know type of deals. All right. So, all right. Now what has been, as I call it, your all-time favorite cosplay, comfort cosplay as a character, no matter how many times, if you get the chance, you will want to cosplay them.
There's two.
All right.
That ironically are voiced by the same person in Japan.
Okay.
So Sailor Moon, that's a huge comfort character of mine. That was my
Which is a really good cosplay of yours I've seen.
yes. So I just love that character, and that series is so close to my heart. And then, um, oh my God, why am I forgetting her name? I literally cosplay as her regularly. It's one of my newer cosplays that I started doing so I can just like be a little more me at cons. Um, why am I blanking on her name? Misato
Misato from what okay, from what anime?
Evangelion.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. I was about to look it up. It's like okay, Misato. Okay. Oh.
So Sailor Moon for me is just like she's girl power. She is a big crybaby. I am a big crybaby. Very very full of expression. Misato is an older woman. She's in her late 20s, early 30s. She likes to drink. And
Misato Kasuragi.
yes, they're both voiced by the same person in Japanese, but very different characters, and they both are really fun for me. Yes, I love her.
This looks like the anime that came out like the 90s.
Yeah, Ava, well, I mean, they've remade it like 18
Oh yeah.
times. Ava came out in the 90s. It's another guy next, just like Gunbuster is.
Okay. Oh yeah, from Evangelion Neon Genesis. Okay. It's I've never watched this, but the animation reminds me of an anime I've seen probably only once, one episode. It was called Escaflowne.
Escaflowne, yeah. That is also guy next, I think. Hold on,
Whoa!
I'm double checking.
I
I
always
know it's
saw
also
we like to talk about non-cosplay stuff on this series too. But I remember watching Escaflowne because my science teacher was a big anime nerd, old otaku, and she had volume one of Escaflowne on DVD, and she showed it to her class. And like, I think me and like two other students were interested, while the others were just thought it was weird and stupid. It's like you're weird and stupid. Mm.
yeah. I was wrong. Escaflowne is Bones, not Gynax, but it's like the same time period, so like animation tended to look pretty similar.
Oh yeah. Um. Now, what is your dream what's the cosplay you're currently working on that you'll be doing soon, and what is your all-time dream cosplay?
One that I'm working on right now is Jesse and James from Team Rocket.
Ooh.
Um, that is going to be a cosplay between my wife and I. I'm on a thing right now
I
where I
can't
have
wait
not.
I can't wait to see how you do Jesse's wig.
Oh, it's going to be a nightmare. But I'm on this thing right now where I've lost the bar Halloween costume locally 3 years in a row, and I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna win it, and I think Jesse and James are gonna do it. Um,
Do you guys ever plan on doing Butch and Cassidy as well?
I'm trying to get a couple of friends of mine to do Butch and Cassidy. We'll see how it goes, but I think that'd be a fun group. And
Nice.
then my ultimate dream cosplay, I've already done it, but I want to do it better. Um, Neo Queen Serenity from Sailor Moon.
Ooh, I'm looking that up right now.
I've done it
Neo.
before, but not at the skill level. Like at the time, it was appropriate for my skill level.
Oh, where she's wearing that big like
Yeah, so there is a version that's in the Sailor Moon Museum that I am wanting to base my, if I could spell, I want to base mine off of, and I'm not gonna, oh, here it is. Okay.
Oh, I found it.
Yes, that is what I want to base it on. That is a beautiful, beautiful dress.
That
I've
that
done Serenity before, but it was very hit and miss. Now looking back on it, I was proud of it at the time, but like that's the downside of being a cosplayer is you'll be proud of something and then like 2 years later you're like, wow, I didn't know what I was doing.
and King and I always allow everyone to have one F word here, just like a PG-13. That fucker looks detailed to a damn T. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's stunning. And
I mean,
I've got it in progress right here. Like, oh,
it's a lot of fabric.
I've been working on this for over a year now,
Oh yeah, it's
and this is
definitely
just the bodice.
it's definitely being one of those like it's probably gonna take you a long time to do because it's one of those like you're working on other cosplays, but when you're done with that, it's like okay, go back to this one because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people who are like I know a lot of people who are working on one cosplay, like one major cosplay, and then they're like working on smaller projects.
Yeah, it keeps you from getting burnt out, jumping around.
But it's like that meme I see of it's like it shows like my multiple cosplay projects and then ooh, a new one I'm working on, and
Yep.
they're like, why haven't you finished us yet?
Yep. Yeah, I have so many that are in progress right now. It just keeps me from getting burnt out.
Nice. Now on to my favorite questions. Um, what is a cosplay mishap you've had? Something a cosplay, whether it's a prop or something happened to the outfit while you're at the con, getting ready for the con, or after a photo shoot. Because I've heard stories where people get done with a photo shoot and they hear that
So one of my first cosplays that I did, I think it was like my third or fourth. It was all bad, all bad. It was bad. So I went to put it on the morning of the con, but I had it in my suitcase and it was made of costume satin. Hey, don't use cotton costume satin. Like it's that really, really, really like shiny, cheap stuff that is like $2 a yard. Don't use it. Don't ever use it. I put my iron on it and it melted. Big hole in the back of the skirt. So I like, thankfully it was a pleated skirt, so I just like safety pinned all around the hole. But then on top of
Cat,
that,
kitty. Sorry.
hi baby. Do not
We
jump on me. Do not.
we love seeing pet cameos. What's your cat's name, by the way?
Soren.
Aw, Thorin, like Thorin Oakenshield from Lord of the Rings.
Soren.
Oh,
Soren, like the Soren Kierkegaard.
aw. Please show us as I like to say, I would like to see the fur baby. Oh, he's so precious. Is it he or she?
He.
He's so precious. Oh my goodness. Sorry for those who are new here. We love people showing off their pets if they make a, as they call, a pet cameo. Oh, he's such a precious baby. Oh. Um, so what was the cosplay that initially just burnt had a hole burn in it?
Sailor Venus.
Oh,
Um, I was like 17 years old, and so that was not the only mishap because I also didn't know how to construct it properly. And so I was using safety pins to hold the crotch together, right? And the safety pin
oh
came undone
no.
and ow, went in my bikini line, like fully open.
Ah.
Yeah, I had to pull it out.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, I was bad luck cosplay. Bad luck.
Mm. We have them all. People don't want to admit it, but there are those ones.
Yeah.
Um, Now another question I ask, as I call them a WTF convention moment to where like that actually happened to like yeah, okay, I gotta leave. Like was it like something
Uh,
weird happened, something funny, something awkward, just something where like, yeah, okay, I need to leave or I'm gonna call the cops type of ordeal.
I've been thinking about this one a lot lately because I've been thinking about how nerds will often say, like, oh, you don't have to worry about me drinking and doing drugs because I'm a nerd and I just want to cosplay, right? Okay, well,
Bullshit.
the
Sorry.
only
I
time I've ever seen cocaine was at a convention. I walked into a room party and like we were drinking and people were drinking, some people were smoking weed. Like that's whatever. That's whatever. But then there was powder on a counter and I took one look at it and I was like, yeah, this is not, I'm gonna, we're gonna leave. Not doing this one.
hmm. That's yes. Yes. Go to a cosplay after party. Next
After
thing you
party,
know,
yeah.
you see Sailor Moon snorting a line. Yeah, that's just
Right?
some you
Like people
don't
are
want
like, we're nerds, we don't do that stuff. And I'm like, you don't know the same nerds I know then. Oh my gosh.
to. That's that oh, what the hell? That's definitely a new. That's definitely that's definitely a top five out of all the stories I've heard in the past
Yeah.
3 years. And
Yeah.
I've heard some weird stories like someone having their eyeball licked, having just like
Okay, that one takes the cake. That one's weird.
yeah, no, it's from an older. It was like their head or their eyeball was like I can't remember, but it's like yours is definitely in the top five. What the hell moments I've heard on
Yeah.
this series in the past 3 years. Um, moving on. Um, what has been your all-time favorite convention moment? Like to this day, it's something you'll always remember because like the best experience ever.
Oh gosh. I went to Otakon once, when a band called Jam Project was playing.
Ooh.
They are filled, it's a band that is comprised of a bunch of like singers and like voice actors and stuff. So I went to the concert and the guitarist who he sings he's the singing voice of one of the characters in Macross 7. He threw his guitar pick out over the stage and I caught his guitar pick. That was really cool. I was stupid and gave it to my boyfriend at the time, so I don't have it anymore.
Oh
But
no.
that was a really cool experience is going
Um,
and seeing that and um getting a guitar pick from one of my favorite artists. But really like closer to home, Matsuri Con is always a great con. Um and it just has a special place in my heart. It's the only con. So I started out before I was, I think, no, I turned 18 the first time I went. It was my 18th birthday the first time I went to Matsuri-Con. But of the three cons that I started out with in the first 5 years of me doing cons and cosplay, the only one that's left is Matsuri-Con. All the other ones died. So it's kind of like I've been going there for a very long time. Um,
And
and I really,
Monster Con has been mentioned quite a bit on this channel too, which I've heard nothing but good things about.
it's a fun little con. It's like mid-size. But yeah, I mean that's where I took a couple years off from it because
Is
yes, yes. So that is
ooh,
in Columbus, Ohio.
Starlight
It's a lot of
Festival.
fun.
That sounds fancy, Starlight Festival.
Yeah, they do themes every year. It's really great. And I've always had a good time at Matsuri-Con.
Oh wow. Early bird. This is for their 2025 show. $55 for early bird,
Mhm.
not bad. Gold registration 150. Oh, you can do charity donations. Oh, that is
Yeah, so they actually do charity events every year and it goes to a the Ohio State Cancer um society
oh, that
research
isn't
stuff because the con chair at one point had cancer and so they donate a bunch of money every year to cancer research.
yeah, I'm looking at MonsterCon has had the pleasure of raising over $120,000 for fighting research these past seven. Oh, that is see, I like this is the type of con that is for fans, by fans, and they actually care.
Oh yeah, and the con chair, John, he has been he was on staff at Otakon back in the 90s.
So he's
So
definitely
he's been doing this for a long time.
he's definitely in the past 30 years, he's definitely seen a lot, and he you can tell he cares because he's seen it from when they do it at hotels to conventions, like he's seen it
Hmm.
all, which it's nice seeing someone who, and it's rare nowadays, I'm gonna have to say, um, that where you see people actually care about the con and the fans and not just the money or oh
Right.
who can we get next to say oh look at us we're me 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 you know
Yeah.
that is very cool. I like shout out to
Yeah,
Monster
it's
for
really
doing that.
cool. And knowing that some of your money is going to a very, very good cause
I
is nice.
I mean if I ever end up going to Matsuri Con, I'll definitely be donating too because that's very cool and
Yeah.
very
They do a charity auction too where you can get stuff that's been donated by voice actors and stuff. And that goes toward to all to charity.
and I'll probably be dropping the link to the website because I was even like looking at the registration, this, that, and they even have like a merch thing too.
Hmm.
That is that is really cool. That's awesome.
They're not the biggest con in the world. They're about at about 7,000 attendees, 7,300, I think. But
That's not bad though.
it's not bad.
But it seems like it would. Is it a con you would recommend people checking out?
Yeah, I think it does a wonderful job of balancing being a mid-sized con but with small con vibes. Um it just really feels very inviting and comfortable. Now you're not going to get like the big guests like what Anime Expo has. No, that's not going to happen. Be realistic, but it is a good time and they do a really good job getting guests. They had a pro what was his name? They had a YouTuber pro I can't remember his
Well,
name.
this was this year. Michael. I'm not sure I pronounce that last name. Please welcome a 2024 guest. Okay. Oh wow. They had Caitlin Glass, voice of
Uh-huh.
Cammy from Street Fighter. Oh, J. Michael. Oh, J. Michael. From experience, J. Michael Tatum is an awesome human being. I had the chance of interviewing him last year at a con. He's a great person.
Yeah. Where is Oh, they had I forgot they had Yoshida. He uh he produced the English version of Ramen Half, Inuyasha, and Gurren Lagann.
No,
Yeah,
man.
so
Oh yeah.
Sungwon Cho. Um, he
Oh, I know him.
yeah, I don't remember his YouTube name, but I know him.
Oh yeah, no, I'm familiar with his work. Oh, Lexi Nieto was again. Lexi is also a great person. Had the again, she's been on this channel before too. Jordan Dash Cruz, another great person. David Vincent, who was voicing. Oh wow, yeah. This. Oh wow, yeah. This con. This it looks like this con has some really great people, and
Mhm.
some have actually had the interview of interviewing in person and on the channel. This is pretty
Yeah.
cool. So I know we kind of gotta wrap it up here. The last question. Advice for those who are listening and are watching this. What kind of last minute advice would you like to throw out there just in general?
Stop paying attention to following count. As a cosplayer, that's like the least important thing you need to pay attention to because when you are um
Sorry, I have to agree with that. Same with content creating.
when if you are wanting to start content creating, I think that that is a wonderful way to express who you are as a cosplayer or as a nerd. I love seeing nerd content, like people just talking about nerdy things, but follower count, there is no method to growing a follow. There's no like for sure method.
Mm-mm.
But I have found that when you're genuine and when you're not sitting here counting numbers and counting likes and just making things for the likes, you're actually going to have a stronger following than if you are so focused on those numbers. And don't, it sounds stupid to say don't cosplay for clout, but like don't expect every single one of your cosplays to get the most attention in the world. It's great to get attention, and I love getting attention. Like, trust and I really love attention. But also, not every single cosplay I do is going to get a ton of attention. Not every single cosplay I do is going to get a ton of pictures and get me interviews at cons and, have people fawning all over me. That's not how this works. Really find your love for the art and your love for yourself. Um, through cosplay and content creation in general. But stay nerdy and don't let the normal people tell you you're too cringe to do this because everyone being human is cringe. Being human.
I am all the cringe. Let me be the cringiest person ever.
I lived through yaoi paddles. Like I was,
Oh, okay. Yaoi paddle,
yeah,
yaoi
I was
paddles, and
cringe.
yeah, yaoi. I was, Friday Night About Cons in 2009. Yaoi paddles, glom circles, and
Yeah, Glom
all.
Circle's the ninja game. Do you know the ninja game?
Mm-mm.
Do you know the Pocky game?
Oh, the po. Is the Pocky game was like two people eat the end of a
Mhm.
Pocky stick? Is that
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, I was. I mean, granted, I didn't do con. I mean, I've known about cons for the past 15 years, but I didn't officially go to my first con until 2017, where I remember seeing a L and Light cosplayer handcuffed to one another,
Yep,
recreating that
that
one
was
scene. I mean, I've seen some weird stuff, especially at bigger
you've seen
cons.
some stuff.
I've seen some stuff. Again, I've known about cosplays for 15 years and cons for that long, so like I'm somewhat familiar in that and with the cosplay convention community for 10 plus years, and I've seen some weird stuff,
Yeah.
you
I've
know.
experienced some weird stuff, so
Um, finally, links. Where can people find you on social media if they want to stay up to date with your cosplay content, or if they want to potentially meet you at a convention?
So my next convention that I have confirmed is Katsucon. I don't do a whole again the low income thing. Can't afford a whole lot of cons, but you can find me on TikTok. It's .hack. You can find me on Instagram. It's .hack, and I've recently started jumping into long form content on YouTube. Um,
I'll be sure
so
to
I
follow you.
have videos that are not on my Insta or TikTok on there. It's all long form content, tons of tutorials in there.
What
And
is the
it
YouTube
is,
channel?
yes, my YouTube channel is it's underscore hack.
Okay, d d it's underscore HKC. Oh yeah, there you are.
Here I
Oh, I'm already,
am.
I'm already subscribed. Never mind.
You're already subscribed. Yeah.
Yeah.
We only have, whoa, we're almost at 900 subscribers over there. But yeah, lots of cool content over there. Long form content, just tons of tutorials in there. I'd like to start doing some interviews with some like veteran cosplayers and stuff, but
Like
you
like
know,
basically like this.
yeah. But yeah, I mean that's where I want to go eventually, but I'm doing long form content and it's totally different than the stuff that I do on TikTok, which is really refreshing and I actually prefer it.
Nice. Well, heck, I think that should do it again. Thank you for coming on to talk about your cosplay and
Thank
convention
you for having
experience.
me.
Of course. But yeah, can't wait to see what you do. Can't wait to see the cosplays you do, and hopefully one of these days I get to interview in person at a con.
That'd be really cool.
Uh,
I'm starting to put my media kit out there, so I'd love to go out there someday for a con. So, Seattle, Washington, Pacific Northwest cons. Hey, I am available.
if you're looking for a cosplay guest, highly recommend. But yes, again, Hack, thank you. And as always, I am Wayne the Unknown. Until next time, thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for watching.